Welcome back, everybody. Today it is finally time to set up this tank. Now, who else thought that that was going to be a nightmare to remove? So glad it isn't. Okay, so I don't really have anything in mind. We're just going to see what we've got lying around the place that can make this look decent. Now, this is for my little girl, so we're not going to be paying a massive amount of attention to aquascaping it, that sort of stuff. So maintenance needs to be pretty easy. So I'd imagine we'll go with Bucephalandra, just a couple, but we want plenty of swimming space at the top because we all know kids want to be able to see their fish when they want to see their fish, not have them hiding. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's see what we've got and see what we can come up with. So for those of you that didn't see the sort of unboxing review we did of this tank, we've sort of modified the filter only a little bit. There was a baffle in here which we've removed. The ceramic media that was located here has gone. That's lost and gone forever. Oh my darling Valentine. We're keeping the central baffle and then just this piece of 35 ppi sponge. And instead of having one square block, I am going to keep it as the folded one. So I put a square block in there, and to be honest, it just made it that little bit more difficult. But that's how we're going to run that. It's not the last thing we're going to do with it though, before it goes in the tank, because we are going to be setting this up to add fish immediately. Now, those of you that are new to fish keeping, you've probably been told that you need to cycle every tank for 6-7 weeks or until you give up the will to live. It's not always the case. There are things you can do. And one of the things that we will be doing is adding Nitrico to this. It is a fantastic product. I have put it down somewhere and I don't know where it is, but that's fine. We don't need to worry about that just yet. So, in fact, we can take the sponge out. We are going to be threading our cable through. And what I really like about this is the fact that it just suction cups to the back. Right, we're going to leave some room for substrate, but I do want this sort of midway. The higher you have it, the more force will be coming out of that duckbill, the more you're going to get the sort of whirlpool effect. And it is a great little piece of kit. So we've got pretty good directional control. Yeah, I really do like it. And obviously the lid will go on as well. So substrate, what have we got? Well, we don't know, because I found this in a nondescript silver mylar bag. Now, obviously I've bought it at some point. And I know sand does kind of taste salty, but I wasn't even convinced it was sand. But the fact that it hasn't dissolved in water means I'm pretty okay with it being sand. This might not be enough. We only want a very thin layer, mostly just for visual appeal. I don't need a thick layer of sand in this. I'm trying to build this for a 4-year-old, so we want as little maintenance and as little problems as possible. Now, this is a ridiculously fine sand, so washing it, well, it wasn't actually that dirty, because what looked like the dirt coming off it was actually just sand particles. You might need a little more than that, but it sort of just clumps together. It is ridiculously fine. It's obviously been here for a while. I don't know where it came from, but we'll see how it goes. You may want to just increase the height of the filter a little bit, just because this stuff could be, well, sand is a nightmare for pumps. All right, so bear that in mind when you're picking your substrate. Gravel is much friendlier to your filtration system. Now, if you're just putting guppies, or in this case ricefish, she's changed her mind, she's having ricefish in here, they're not going to be chucking up the substrate. Now, if you're going to put corridoras in here, or maybe like little dwarf claropleco or some sort of bottom dweller, fine sand, just be aware. It can be done, and we do it in pretty much every tank. But when it's kicked up and it gets sucked into the filter, you need to stay on top of that filter maintenance, okay? Because if sand gets into where the impeller is, then it will wear things out much quicker. Literally just like being sandblasted. Now, I appreciate you probably can't see very well what I'm doing because of glare, but this little piece of wood, I think, just needs a bit of propping up. So I'm just going to put a couple of bits of slate, because quite often splitting my own slate for pleco shelves, that sort of stuff, and these are some of the off bits, off cuts. They're not cut, they're smashed. Off smashes. There's some of the off smashes. Now I imagine we're probably going to stick with something similar to that. We need some height, but I don't really do high plants like stem plants. It's normally Buces and Nubias, but we'll see what we've got lying around. One of the things we are going to pop in here though is this wonderful specimen. It was from Deneley. It was a gift, so thank you very much. We had a bunch of them. And it's going to be slow growing. It's an epiphyte, so no need to worry about active substrates or root tabs or anything like that. And it can be quite easily adhered to hardscape, either by wedging it in the crevices, of which there are many, or with a little bit of cyanoacrylate glue. That's right, super glue. So with our plants, this is what we call in vitro or in cups. So they're essentially grown immersed, okay? But in the bottom, be very careful, is a gel-like substance. I've had these for quite a while, and the roots have actually started to attach to the bottom of the tub. I'm hoping one will be enough for this tank, but we have 2 or 3 more if we need them. You see this gel type stuff, we need to get that off. And just a quick rinse in some warm tap water. You don't need to worry about dechlorinating it, anything like that. These cups are perfectly sterile, so the difference between buying in vitro like this and say in a pot from your local aquarium shop is that a pot in your aquarium shop is likely to have beneficial bacteria already on it, but not massive amount. But if you're starting a tank like this, it's something to consider, because it will give you that little bit of a head start. Now, the bonus to in vitro cups is look how many plants we've actually got in here. And this is the same for stem plants, Anubias. Gently sort of tease them apart. Now, that is a very healthy Buse plant. And we've got quite a lot left. So I think this is going to be quite nice. Now, when you are super gluing, make sure you put down some sort of sacrificial barrier, because mistakes happen. We've got one of these nasty Temu towels. That was just an absolute mistake. And basically what I'm going to do, you don't need to see it, so we will skip ahead, is get as much of this sort of grow media off as possible. The gel stuff can be quite difficult because the root hairs really sort of cling onto it. Stem plants are a lot easier. And these have been in for quite some time, so we might actually trim some of these roots off. But then we'll get on to glue. So as you can see, once you've got as much of the growing media off, look how many we got just from that one in vitro pot. You could probably split this one down again, but just for the initial visual impact, you can keep that one quite full. I mean, look how many baby leaves are in there, so healthy. But we've got 6 little plant sections from it, and also whilst I was outside, we have a lot of Riccia fluitans growing in a pond outside. Yeah, even in UK winter or late autumn, let's say. So when you are using your super glue, be aware that when it goes underwater, it can turn white. So we want to use as little as possible and strategically place it. Now, this is the gel type super glue that I'm using, and it is important to use as little as possible. As Dalboy would say, a little dab will do ya. Because not only do we not want to see the white aftermath, also if you start covering up the roots, you are obviously going to impact how much nutrients they can actually take up. So if you go and plaster a load of super glue on there, you're effectively choking off the plant. It can't feed. I'm probably going to nudge the camera several times. This is obviously a low budget production because it's a low budget channel. If you want to help me out with that, you can feel free to like, subscribe, and believe me, I used to think that liking made absolutely no difference. It really does. So it doesn't cost you anything to do that, and I would really, really appreciate it if you've got anything out of this at all, besides the fact that it actually does encourage you to carry on doing what you're doing. it does actually help other people see it too. So with the gel type, you can use the liquid type. I've seen a lot of people say that it must be the gel type, but as long as it is 100% cyanoacrylate, I have had no issue using the runny type of super glue. Now the gel is much easier to control, and for that it is most things it's much easier. But if you are gluing Hardscape together, go for the liquid. Definitely go for the liquid. So we've got a little bit of Riccia on top, and we've gone with a couple of little brownie ghosts on there. I'm going to finish this one off, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. So that is, I think, where I'm going to finish with that one. I think that's quite nice, but I am by no means an aquascaper. No MJ or fish up mat. So I'm going to get on with the next one. I'm not quite sure how well that lends itself to being planted, but we do need to get some greener on there for, I don't know, cohesiveness. So that's both pieces of wood planted up, and I think it's looking okay. I like it, but we do need some height. Now, like I said, I don't do stem plants, but I did happen to find a plant that we used to propagate for profit. This, one of the beautiful red sort of Amazon swords, and I don't know the name of it, but it's, you know, it won't be too hard to find. So I think, even though it's small and you won't see it much to start with, behind this piece, in the back left corner, if we can sort of weigh it down, because we've only got a thin substrate. So we're going to weigh it down by gluing the roots under this and adding some root tabs. And this time we're going to be using these. I got them to try them. They're cheap, they're effective, very effective, especially at growing crypticorns. So that, I think, is where we're going to go. Yes, the filter is wonky. I need to straighten that up. I don't even have OCD and it's ruining my life. What are we going to do about getting these fish in today on the setup of the tank? This is our media. Yes, this is what's going to go into the filter. And this is what is going to allow us to add them straight to the tank. Now, if you have other tanks, of course, you can just move an appropriate amount of media over to this tank and away you go. This is essentially the same thing. It is bacterial goop, okay? Now this is Nitrico. It's one of the Andrew Linnet groups. So Nitrico, Tropco, Repco, Cartco, there's a lot. And this stuff is absolutely brilliant. Obviously this isn't 250 liters. What they're telling you is that you could add this to a 250 liter aquarium and then stock it to a reasonable level just with the bacteria in this pouch. Now, I always err on the side of caution with it. Obviously, I'm not going to be using all of this in there. That would be horrendous. You'd probably see an ammonia spike from the die-off of the nitrobacteria. We will just be adding some of this to this sponge, massage it in nice and deep. Yes, as it runs through the filter, you may get a bit of cloudiness, but obviously the filter will sort that out in time. And then all you need to do is keep an eye on your nitrite levels. Obviously test for ammonia as well, but keep an eye on your levels and take appropriate steps if you need to. Now, I've never had such a big nitrite spike that it can't be solved with just the addition of NT Labs Optimus or Chem Prime. And what they do is they detoxify the ammonia and the nitrite and make it processable by the bacteria, but not harmful to the fish. Now, I prefer that than doing water changes, because if you just remove those levels of ammonia or nitrite, you are removing a food source for the bacteria you may eventually need, given on how many fish you've added. So it's, in my opinion, much safer long term to detoxify the ammonia or the nitrite based on that, because the bacteria can still access it, feed on it, grow to the right number to process the bioload that they are going to be faced with. And then when it's all leveled out, you can just stop dosing that. As a matter of caution, I generally do it for about 6 to 7 days. There's Amguard from Chem, although I would use Prime if I was you, and also Optimus from NT Labs. Both fantastic products. We have used both. We do have a video coming up. It's going to take a while because filming it will take a while, about Prime and how it interacts with certain test kits. So we're also going to be putting the NT Labs and the API test kit head to head. And obviously it will be based on which one I prefer, but there will be reasons behind why I prefer it. Camera wobble, and sorry, I'm not popping pills. This is the root tab. because the Echinodorus is now ready to be placed. So we're going to pop the root tab in. So we might just give this one 2, you know, because it's going to need a fair bit. Now it is showing a bit of red. If you were running CO2 with it, it would be a lot more red. So yes, you can have some interesting color in your aquarium without having to run CO2. I think that's going to look nice. Obviously, it's going to take time to grow in. It's quite a big plant. It's going to take a while. So it's the moment of goop. Wet sponge. Yep, and that is exactly what it looks like. I mean, that is what it looks like. It just comes from fish, not a fox or whatever. If you only got one piece, just massage it in, but with this, nice and easy. We will put it together and you can slide that into this little modified, beautiful Aqua One filter. So inevitably the water is a little bit dirty. The sand's kicked up a bit of stuff. There's goop in the water. Now I haven't turned the pump on because Riccia fluitans, the green mossy looking stuff, it's not a massive fan of flow. It's basically lots of small pieces of moss-like plant interlocked. Now that pump, even though it's only 2.5 watts, has an impressive rate of flow. So we're going to leave it off for a couple of days. We're going to get the fish in, and then we're going to go and see when we can turn the pump on how much of that Riccia leaves its place. Now, if you look at the Riccia at the bottom, get a bit of zoom on. Quality's not great, but you see the white underneath the Riccia on the right hand side there. That is super glue. So Riccia is pretty thin, and maybe I stretched it a bit too far. Much like the one top left, you can see the sort of glare coming off the white. That is super glue. Now, if the Riccia holds there and doesn't all float away, it will grow, it will cover that, you won't see it. And I kind of hope it does, because I don't really want to be netting out lots and lots of Riccia. Now, obviously, this is not where it's going to stay, and I did say earlier that I want my little one to be able to see a fish when she wants to be able to. And initially from the front, it looks like, oh, they got loads of hiding spaces, but really they don't, because visibility all around is very good. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Like I said, I'm not an aquascaper. We will be selling tropical plants very soon. We are now an official retailer of those. But yeah, I hope you like it. I really hope my little one likes it. Time to get the fish in. Well, there we go, guys. Yes, I know the Amazon sword has to grow in, and hopefully the Riccia fluitans doesn't all grow off and float away, making an absolute mess. And if it does, we can replace it with a darker green, maybe like a Marima moss ball. We've made trees out of those in it. Or maybe we should have done a treescape. Never mind. It is what it is. I know the glare is terrible, so just before I get some footage of it when it's dark outside, I will see you hopefully soon in another video. Not quite sure what it's going to be yet, but until I see you again, I hope you find a reason to smile, and more than that, as always, I hope you find a reason to make a stranger smile. I'll see you in the next one.